15 inventors who were killed by their own inventions. 1. Marie Curie. Marie Curie, popularly known as Madame Curie, invented the process to isolate radium after co-discovering the radioactive elements radium and polonium. She died of aplastic anemia as a result of prolonged exposure to ionizing radiation emanating from her research materials. The dangers of radiation were not well understood at the time. 2. William Nelson, a General Electric employee, invented a new way to motorize bicycles. He then fell off his prototype bike during a test run and died. 3. William Bullock, he invented the web rotary printing press. Several years after its invention, his foot was crushed during the installation of the new machine in Philadelphia. The crushed foot developed gangrene and Bullock died during the amputation. 4. Horace Lawson Hunley, he was a marine engineer and was the inventor of the first war submarine. During a routine test, Hunley, along with a 7-member crew, sunk to death in a previously damaged submarine H.L. Hunley, named after Hunley's death, on October 15, 1963. 5. A Francis Edgar Stanley. Francis crashed into a woodpile while driving a Stanley Steemer. It was a steam engine-based car developed by Stanley Motor Carriage Company, founded by Francis E. Stanley and his twin Freeland O. Stanley. 6. Thomas Andrews, he was an Irish businessman and shipbuilder. As the naval architect in charge of the plans for the ocean liner RMS Titanic, he was traveling on board that vessel during her maiden voyage when the ship hit an iceberg on April 14, 1912. He perished along with more than 1,500 others. His body was never recovered. 7. Thomas Midgley Jr. He was an American engineer and chemist who contracted polio at age 51, leaving him severely disabled. He devised an elaborate system of ropes and pulleys to help others lift him from the bed. He was accidentally entangled in the ropes of the device and died of strangulation at the age of 55. 8. Alexander Bogdanov, he was a Russian physician and philosopher who was one of the first people to experiment with blood transfusion. He died when he used the blood of malaria and TB victim on himself. 9. Michael Baker died after testing his flying taxi device designed to permit fast, affordable travel between regional cities. 10. Max Valier invented liquid-fueled rocket engines as a member of the 1920s German Rocket Society. On May 17, 1930, an alcohol-fueled engine exploded on his test bench in Berlin that killed him instantly. 11. Mike Hughes was killed when the parachute failed to deploy during a crash landing while piloting his homemade steam-powered rocket. 12. Harry K. Daghlian Jr. and Louis Slotin, the two physicists were running experiments on plutonium for the Manhattan Project, and both died due to lethal doses of radiation a year apart, 1945 and 1946, respectively. 13. Karel Sousek, the professional stuntman, developed a shock-absorbent barrel in which he would go over the Niagara Falls. He did so successfully, but when performing a similar stunt in the Astrodome, the barrel was released too early and Sousek plummeted 180 feet, hitting the rim of the water tank designed to cushion the blow. 14. Hamad al-Jawari, he was a prominent scholar in early 11th century Iraq and he was also sort of an inventor, who was particularly obsessed with flight. He strapped on a pair of wooden wings with feathers stuck on them and tried to impress the local imam. He jumped off from the roof of a mosque and consequently died. 15. Jean-Francoise Pilatre de Rogier. Rogier was a French teacher who taught chemistry and physics. He was also a pioneer of aviation, having made the first man-free balloon flight in 1783. He died when his balloon crashed near Wimereux in the Pas-de-Calais during an attempt to fly across the English Channel. Pilatre de Rogier was the first known fatalities in an air crash when his Rosier balloon crashed on June 15, 1785.